Today's video, we're going to look at magnesium to determine whether or not it's actually necessary to supplement with this, how deficiencies even come to be a thing, all the way to why exactly it is important to the plant. So let's get into it. If you're new to this series, we are going through all 17 essential plant nutrients and discussing exactly how we get them into the soil, how we keep them in the soil, what happens when we have too much in the soil, and everything else in between. And today's video is magnesium, which is a secondary nutrient. So secondary macro simply means that it's needed in a higher capacity. It is a macronutrient. It has nothing to do, again, with the molecule size and everything to do with the sheer volume the plant needs. As we discussed, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen are number one absolute must. The primary macros are going to be nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And then the secondary macros are sulfur, calcium, and magnesium. And magnesium is the last one I have to do a video on in regards to secondary macros. So magnesium is responsible for a number of different things, but I think the three main ones that you guys would be interested in is the fact that it's in charge of photosynthesis as well as nitrogen fixation. So this is when legumes fix nitrogen from the atmosphere, pull it into the soil. And it actually is also responsible for the movement of both phosphorus and iron within the plant, which is interesting. It is considered mobile in both the soil as well as in the plant. So what that means is that it is very easily washed out of the system, the soil solution, via runoff, pooling water, heavy rains, leaching, all that sort of stuff will remove magnesium from the system. And it also is mobile in the plant, which means that it is removed from the older leaves and put into the newer leaves when there is a deficiency, just to keep the plant going. So the lower leaves is where you're going to see the deficiency first and foremost. You will very rarely, if ever, see it on the top leaves unless it is incredibly severe. So magnesium is a huge component of the Earth's crust. It's somewhere around 2%. Give or take, depending on where you are on planet Earth. So the way that magnesium gets into our soil is via the crushing of bedrock. And a majority of this has taken place either through wind, rain, erosion, or actual glacier moving across the surface of the earth and grinding and pulverizing the bedrock into a fine powder, a silt, a sand, a clay, which in turn makes our soil. So because it is so abundant in the earth crust and so abundant in soil, it's very rarely deficient in the sense that it is lacking physically in being there, particularly for gardeners. I do think we could probably argue in intensive agriculture, the case may be different, but in our home gardens, it's pretty rare. Magnesium could be lacking in a potting soil, for example, because that is obviously not made from the earth's crust. That is made from peat or coconut coir. Maybe it's homemade, which probably would lend credence to that being even more true. It could be a situation where if you're reusing potting soil, it slowly gets depleted. So on the potting soil side, I think you could argue that it may be a deficiency issue, and it could be the reason why you have things like blossom end rot or just magnesium deficiencies showing up in the actual plant. Now, the other way that magnesium is deposited into the soil is through just regular decomposition. So because the plants have magnesium in them and because it is a secondary macro, when the plant decomposes via compost or just naturally sitting on the earth's surface, that magnesium gets reconstituted back into the system and utilized by the next set of plants. So that is obviously number two way in which you get magnesium naturally into your soil systems. So before we get into what causes deficiencies, let's first talk about how magnesium is uptaken by the plant, because this is important. So magnesium is uptaken via root interception, which simply means that the root hair needs to T-bone a magnesium molecule. And more specifically, it has to be a magnesium molecule that is in the soil solution and not attached tightly, which we'll get into here in a little bit, to an actual soil particulate. So if it's in soil solution, it's in water, the physical root hair touches the magnesium, it is uptaken in through that root hair, which means that if you put Epsom salt in a very confined space and the roots aren't incentivized to reach away from said area to get magnesium, you could end up with a plant that is got a little bit of a root ball that's too tight. It doesn't expand its horizons. Or in other cases, if your soil is lacking magnesium, you end up with a root system that digs really deep and really far and puts a lot of effort into the roots to grab said nutrient over just kind of spreading the love equally between upper biomass and the lower biomass. So there are 4 ways in which you can get a magnesium deficiency despite the fact that magnesium is present. Number 1 is pH. Now, I think I've beaten this horse dead at this point, but essentially magnesium, all nutrients on planet Earth, has a specific range in which it is available to plants. And magnesium, if it is too acidic of a soil, it is not uptaken. If it's too high of a pH, it's not uptaken. So the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. And when we fall outside of those realms, the nutrient obviously is going to be lacking in the plant itself, despite the fact that it is very much so present in the soil. When something like this takes place, where the pH is out, but the magnesium itself is present, this is where the addition of things like the Epsom salt or magnesium citrate, or, people who add lime to their soil for calcium, all these little additions in bulk, what happens is because it's just the sheer volume of that molecule being added, it is uptaken. It is very easily uptaken by the plant because it's there in such an excess. Now, this doesn't always translate to a good thing because it can actually interfere with the uptake of other nutrients. So don't just dump on Epsom salt because you think you're lacking magnesium. Go to the root of the issue. However, it's why when people do add Epsom salt or magnesium citrate or lime or just any sort of bioavailable form of calcium or magnesium, they suddenly see a very large improvement in the plant. And again, it's just because it's there in excess. But as always, I would heavily encourage you to check out the video on nitrogen, because nitrogen is going to be your key in determining what actual deficiency you have, because it may show up as a magnesium deficiency, but it could be much different. And the problem-solving process, nitrogen is the easiest one to combat this, to then trickle down the list to determine what the real root cause is. But I go into more detail on that inside of the actual nitrogen video. I think I also do touch on it in the calcium video as well. Next up is that phosphate actually restricts the uptake of magnesium when it is present in excess. Classically, there are a lot of fertilizers that contain way too much phosphorus based on what your likely is your soil's needs. So when it comes to phosphorus, I would use some caution and don't go, for example, something that can cause right off the hop a massive imbalance or ratio imbalance between NPK and all the other nutrients. Is a balanced fertilizer. So when it says, 5-5-5, something like that, you always want that phosphorus to be lower, preferably, because it's just going to help eliminate that problem from essentially taking place. So phosphorus will reduce the uptake of magnesium. They compete directly for the same spots on the plant. Next one is pretty boring. It's just the washout. So it is mobile in the soil, which means excessive volumes of water can very easily wash magnesium out of the system. And this is obviously more prevalent when you have a sandier soil or a soil that is more prone to leaching, which is usually a sandier soil texture. And so because of that, you do need to watch your soil texture. If it's sandy, you need to supplement with magnesium, very likely. If you note that the space is very frequently results in a lot of water hitting the area, if you overwater, all these things, runoff, that sort of stuff will reduce the magnesium. And though in that situation, your only real course of action is to actually supplement it. It can be depleted so rapidly. This one I talk about sometimes in my videos, but I don't go into too much depth, and that is the cation exchange capacity, CEC. So what this means is that the easiest way to explain this is that it is a battery, and the battery has a charge in it, and the soil is just a big, ginormous battery. And if the charge inside of said battery is too strong, or the magnet, that is the soil, is too strong, it tends to hold on to specific nutrients much more tightly. And when it's held on tightly, it's much more difficult, or it takes a lot more force to physically remove it from that soil particulate. Whereas if the cation exchange capacity, the magnetic power, or the battery reserve is smaller, then it's more easily plucked away and put into the soil solution, which is then uptaken, because the soil particulate and anything connected to it is much different than the soil system as a whole and the water and what's mixed in with the water that's in your soil. So tends to have a higher disposition towards being deficient or showing deficiencies in the physical plants. So if you can go for something along that route, usually like a CalMag or a Blossom, a lot of Blossom formulas have a full spectrum in it. If you go that route, that usually is more than enough to kind of get you through and to counteract the magnetic or the intensity of a clay soil. And the opposite is true again for the sandy soil, and also true in the case of a potting soil, for example. But like I said, if you are wanting to learn more about kind of the relationship between all the different nutrients and how you can manage these each independently, I suggest you start with this video right here. And that video is what Google says you should check out. So I'll talk to you guys next time.